Father Henry was once on the wrong ward in the hospital. He was supposed to be on ward A or something. He was on ward C in Valencia, in a massive hospital where he was a chaplain. Our Father Henry, the same order. And he went into the room and he realized that he was in like C3, which is supposed to be an A3. He just made the mistake. And so he said to the woman who was there, he's like, "Oh, sorry, I made a mistake. I walked in the wrong room. I'll be about my business." Because like sometimes when they see the priest come in, they really react bad. A lot of them wouldn't really want to see the priest, or they makes them feel uncomfortable because it thinks maybe like, "Oh, he's here because I'm dying." There's a lot of politics behind it. But anyways, he was going to leave. And she said, "No, Father, could you please come in? I actually would like to make peace with God." And so he's like, okay. He went in and she said, "I know I'm kind of like given a bad appearance. I'm a bit disfigured," because she had a tumor on her face. That was like a really weird growth. But she said, I used to be a very beautiful woman, and I have all the sins of a very beautiful woman. And so he sat down with her and he gave her a proper confession. She'd had a pretty wild life. And he gave her the anointing of the sick and communion. And she died the week after. And he always told the story of how like God was using him, because he was like, he made the mistake, but he was in the spot where he had to be at the right time, and he saved that woman's soul. Like he was responsible for that woman's soul. I don't know if she was going to ask for a priest. I don't know what the deal is, but like those are the circumstances. She sees him, and he came through. She was a product. I always see these girls, and I feel bad. I'm as a priest, I feel bad for people now. Like before, I just was a bit completely indifferent, and now when I see people, especially working in secondary schools, I feel really bad for them, because I know what they're going through. That's why last night when we're talking about drugs and stuff, like I like the kind of that whole topic gets me going, because like I'm working with lads who are like they're going down that path, and I'm seeing where they're going, and I was there, like, and it's like for me it's kind of like it throws me off. It's like when Catholics are like, "Oh, I just maybe a couple doobies here and there, can have like just a good time, just a bit of like recreational drugs." Like it drives me crazy. Because like I was saying, like I've been there, like in that world, and now I'm in the other world where it's grace, where there's actually grace is as a substance. Grace is a real thing, as a substance. Like ecstasy gives you ecstasy. Cocaine makes you feel love. Like these drugs chemically give you these feelings. No one's going to deny that, and a lot of lads do them because of that. But like the substance of grace, like what that really gives you, and like the experience you have when you're on that substance is that, but it's not a chemical, and it's so much more. Like this is a reality that I'm trying to like, as a missionary, bring to these lads. So when I have like Christians, like you guys, and if we're kind of like, I'm not saying like you guys were like arguing against it, but like if I have Christians that are kind of trying to convince me or argue against like, this stuff's not that bad, don't get too extreme, it's just a bit here and there. It drives me nuts, because it's like, well, we're supposed to be the ones that are bringing this real stuff to these people who don't have it, who are looking for it in chemical romances. Like, so like we actually have it, but they're looking for it in different spots, and they never knew, and we're like on the fence, dabbling a bit of religion here, bit of the world here. Like that gets me. I grew up like my mom saying you're not allowed to say hate, but I think I hate that kind of Christian. I don't know if that's like a good thing to say. But like it gets me going so much. And like sometimes when I go to these retreats and I see them all together and they're all like in their like bubble, everything's great. But then like it's different, like it could be in a different circle and it's a completely different thing. That drives me nuts. I think it's just because I think I'm on the front lines and we're seeing lads self-destruct, and we have the answer, and I'm trying to like fight for it. And then the people who are supposed to be helping me, young Christians, are dabbling in both of them. They're on the fence. They're lukewarm. So this lady's got the disfigured face. She's like, I was really beautiful, and I have the sins of a really beautiful woman. Father Henry's in that moment there, giving the exchange, giving her what she really was looking for, Christ, substance of like grace. And it happened. So when I'm thinking like, all right, so this is us, right? This is actually what I wanted to pull this into. I wanted to connect this here. You guys know who that is up there in the corner? This guy here. Do you know who that is? This is bad. it's bad on my part. This is my fault. St. Brendan. We're literally like in Stefan's B&B. We are in the base of St. Brendan, like Mount Brendan, his mountain, where he went up traditionally, not according to legend, traditionally. He went up the mountain and he was 40 days and 40 nights fasting before he went off to the end of the world. That was his idea. He was going to go off till there was nowhere else to go. So he had a boat, he had his 12 apostles with him, and he left. And he hit, I think it was 7 different places before making it to the Americas. 5th century. They retraced his journey, and they did it, and it's not only possible, but it's very probable that he did that. And there's documents that we have that kind of point that he did do it. That's where you get the Brendan option. You guys are familiar with the Brendan option? The Brendan option is not because it's Father Brendan Kilcoyne. That would be really kind of like, I've got the option, I'm Father Brendan. That's not, it's the Brendan option because he's saying this is an option. When you talk about options, it's like, okay, what do I do now in the society I'm living in? We've got options. You can go into your house, homeschool your children, make sure they never go out, if they never have contact with the world, protect them at all costs. That's an option. I don't think that works. I mean, I don't think it works, like in the sense that like you're not going to like protect your children to the fact that they're just going to be like perfect. You can homeschool them, but like make sure that they're in the world as well, and the fact that like maybe they're playing sports and they're getting a bit of contact out there. You can completely go out into the world and think that you can take it over. Like there's a lot of options. The Brendan option is we're in a society where everything's become liquid, like water. That was Karl Marx. Karl Marx said we need to liquefy the solids. The solids are society, family, and religion. Those are solids that people build on. We need to liquefy those to start a revolution and start over again. The family's been liquefied. 2 dudes can be a family with another dude as like dude kid. You can have, you can get divorced easily, drop of a dime. Yeah, I'm going to divorce you because whatever, like you don't think you're attractive anymore, and I'm just going to make up some reason. I'm not going to be with you. Divorce. The family's been liquefied. Religion. I mean, like, what is that? Like seriously, like what is that? I think like where you're sitting, like it looks like he's decapitated. Like especially when the lights are off, it's like, no offense to anybody, but I mean that's offensive. Like, what is that? Like, religion's been liquefied in the sense that it's like, you're in the schools and you go into the RE classes and like, the walls are covered with like, the golden rule. Like, it's like, be nice as God is nice. And like, all religions are the same on that point that they all say that we have to be nice to each other. Like, that's a load of crap. Absolute load of crap. Like, religion, like, is not about like being nice. Like, the world's not nice. Like, the fallen angels, who are our real enemies, when our Lord says love your enemies, he's talking about people. He's not saying like the enemies as far as like the dark world. Like they hate us. They hate us. And they're here to like disfigure us and destroy us and bring us to hell for all eternity. That's not nice. But that's what our Lord was saying. So he's saying like everything is nice and everything's like, that's what it's about. And then at the end of the day, these lads go through RE, which is a DOS class. It's not even important. And then at the end of the day, the conclusion is like, okay, well, you had Buddha, you had Confucius, you got Jews, and then you have Christ. Like, I'm kind of going to think which one is the best for me, or maybe even mix a bit. That's religion. It's been liquefied. There's no solid, like, one truth. It's gone. It's liquefied. And then society. I don't even have to get into, like, what, the amount of crap that they're just throwing at us and that people are fighting. So there's no solid. So what the Brendan option is talking about is like, okay, you get a boat, and you navigate on like this liquefied society and you evangelize. But your boat is solid. There's something in there that where people can get in if they need to. Like this woman with the disfigured face, or these lads who are chasing after these pipe dreams. Like you have something solid that you're supposed to be bringing to them. That's the truth. So like if I am lukewarm in a society that's so aggressive right now, and a faith that is so attractive. Like Father Henry had an experience of like a ball of fire coming into his chest. He had a real experience of like, he felt like a ball of fire went into him. And you could tell it when you were with him, that he had a true, proper experience of like God. And people could like experience and perceive it, and they wanted it from him, and he was bringing it to them. Like, that's what we're supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be like bringing this like crazy experience of a crazy God, in the sense that he's done everything to captivate us. And I'm bringing it to them. That's the option that we're supposed to be taking. So like, sitting on the fence when things are so crazy right now, it's just pathetic. It's so pathetic. And I've actually told lads, I've said, look, man, like, if you're a Christian right now, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're dabbling in both, like, you're Christian, but like at the same time you're worldly, and you're like properly like following what the world's doing, I'm like, just get out. Like, I honestly think it would be better to get out. Like Father Brendan says, he's like, look, if you're gonna burn, like, go out in flames. Like, don't just like sizzle. Like, look, if you're gonna like do it properly. Like, you know, don't just do it half-ass. Because he's saying like, what's happening here is you're losing because you're already in the world and you're in the church, but you're giving a bad name to us. Because when lads see you, they're like, there's not actually, in our conversation and our ways of thinking, there's not much difference. So like, what's the, you know, it's like that. Like, why would I do that? Like, why would I come here for that, you know? Like, that's pathetic. Like, we follow a real faith. Like, and what's happening is it's kind of just getting dragged around. And like the spirit and the heart has been taken out of it. So if we've got half job Christians, like, it's better just to get out, jump out of the boat, or like really do it for real. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're gonna do it like halfway, what's the point? I don't know if that makes sense. Like, if you can do it halfway, there's really no point, you guys. Like full on, full board. So St. Brendan, and then here you have our Blessed Mother, which I couldn't figure out the scene at the bottom. If I could read the Irish, I probably would get it, but I couldn't figure that one out. I didn't know if it was St. John, but I don't know. We'll have to maybe afterwards get that, what that is all about. She's getting, as St. Maximilian Kolbe said, she's getting an army together. St. Louis de Montfort also said it. In these times, like, the saints saw how bad things were getting. I don't think we've ever had it worse. They say you're not allowed to say that, but I don't think we've ever had it worse. The fact that, like, how is a young lad supposed to, like, prosper when he's got his smartphone on him? Like, when your smartphone is just, like, occasion of sin. Do you know what the occasion of sin was, like, back in the day? It was, back in the day, it was, like, it could have been a book. It was, like, a dirty book, right? It had, like, dirty stories in it. And the lads would, like, find these novels, and they'd be like, oh, man, I got, like, and they'd read it. And so, like, when they were like, stay away from the occasion of sin, it was like, okay, stay away from, like, a library. And then it kind of, like, advanced, okay, that kind of got the magazines. And, like, you know, you could go into, like, you go into the convenience store and, like, you like, lift a magazine, you put under your shirt, and then you got the magazine. And then it got to the computer, but, like, the computer was, like, this big, and it would, like, load and take forever, and it would, like, make a lot of noise, like, it's like people knew you were on the computer. The occasion of sin for a lot of lads, and it's not just impurity, but it's like a lot of other things. It's like that big, and it's on you. It's on you at all times. We've never had it harder in that sense, that it's like you're living with it. It's attached to you. The occasion of sin. So what these saints were saying is, like, things are going to get really difficult, but like that just means that she's starting an army, because she knows, like, the battle's coming. And she's on the horizon, and she's coming, and Satan's terrified, because he knows, like, when Our Lady stands up, that means she's going to, like, stomp on his head. That's what's happening with her. She's standing up, but she needs an army, and she needs people to say, like, listen, enough of this crap. Like, I'm going to go for it for real. Things are getting bad. People need me. People are crying out for what I have, and I'm going to go for it. So this is her time. It's the time of our Blessed Mother. So we're going to pray a Hail Mary right now and ask her for the intention that we're going to have in our heart. It's like not to do things halfway, to have a solid faith that other people can stand on, and I can bring it to them, because things are bad out there, but we do have the answer for it. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus.